Here are my Outbreak racism stories. When one of my close family members reached out to me to get help with filling out her unemployment benefit application last week, I realized how bad the situation is due to the impact of COVID-19. 2 weeks ago, she got laid off from a hotel housekeeping job. As the breadwinner with 4 young children, her job was the main income sources for her family, and they relied on the health insurance that her company offered. I can't imagine if they lost the health insurance during this COVID-19 crisis. They will not be able to afford the health coverage if they're unfortunately infected. The process of filling out the application was a learning experience for me since I had never done it before. But thankfully there are online resources available, and since I'm the one in the family who reads and writes English, I knew it was my responsibility to help my aunt. It was honestly stressful for me because I understand how important it is for my aunt to get her unemployment benefits, so I really needed to put in extra efforts to make sure I didn't make any mistakes on the application. Another close family member, my older aunt who works in the medical supply industries, has been facing racial discrimination in her workplace due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Her colleagues, who are also people of color, have been making fun of Asian American workers there and saying that they eat dogs and bats and blaming all Asians for causing this crisis. Even though my aunt has been fighting back and speaking up for herself, others still talk back behind her back. I'm glad that she called out these people, but it's really upsetting for me to hear about this unfair experience that she had to suffer through. It has been really stressful and uncomfortable for her to deal with all these racial remarks while still performing well at her job. She did not raise her injustice experience with her supervisors because she believed that it won't make a difference. She said, "This is not the first time and it won't be the last." There was the feeling of hopelessness and powerlessness in her eyes, yet she still continues to work hard. All I can do at this moment is to be a listener and support her emotionally whenever she needs me. Also, it has been hard for us to communicate for the past week because I haven't been allowed to see her in person. In early March, I experienced cough and headache, symptoms that were very similar to the COVID-19. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, I would just treat it as a common cold. But at this time, I got panicked not only because of my own health crisis, but also the possibility of bringing the virus to my family members who are older and have weakened immune systems. During these few days when I had the symptoms, I was suffering every day. I had fears, anxieties, and worries, and I could not sleep well. However, racial discrimination is worse and scarier than the actual health crisis. With all the racism cases going on against Asians, as a US citizen, I feel unsafe even in my own country. I have been feeling scared to step outside alone in case someone screams at me or gives me nasty looks. Things are so difficult right now. I hope people can be kinder to each other during this pandemic. I hope those that are infected will be recovered soon. I hope people that pass on find peace in the afterlife. I understand why people will be fearful, but at the same time, I wish the blame wasn't on Asians. I absolutely fear for my friends and family, for every Asians out there, all over the world, that is being blamed and targeted for harassment. Stop racism and fight the virus.
I've been facing a lot of racism because of the COVID-19 outbreak. I don't like the way that everyone perceives the whole pandemic as an Asian problem. We need to stand up for ourselves to make changes. And who knows what would happen to the Asian communities if the pandemic kept going on. Asians are bullied and attacked. Honestly, I'm scared for my safety because the longer I stay in any public space, the more likely I will get verbally or physically hurt. I started working at a local supermarket in 2018. I want to pay for my school tuition and fees so my mom wouldn't have to worry. My job is low wage and I typically work from 20 to 25 hours every week. Customer can be kind and understanding, but some can be demanding and tough. My coworkers are caring and supportive. I want the world to know that I really appreciate knowing that I belong. But when they are not around, bad things happen to me. I get a lot of sarcastic jokes and racist comments, such as, "Oh, that's why you guys should stop eating dogs, cats, or bats. Don't eat people's pets. Stop spreading the virus. And 6 feet, please." After cleaning carriages for hours, I finally got my 15 minutes break. I knew something was wrong. I noticed that there was an elderly white lady who needed help, and without any hesitation, I ran to her and offered to help her. But she turned around and shouted, "Stay away from me." I was so confused and shocked because I didn't know why she screamed at me. Fortunately, one of my white coworkers came over to help. The lady said to my coworker that she wanted me to be 6 feet away from her because of social distancing. But my coworker was 2 inches away from her, and she didn't say anything about it. They call the people who work at grocery stores during this crisis as essential. But this is how the society treats the essential? Is because I'm Asian?
Systemic racism in this country is deeply rooted, but this event acts as a means and a catalyst for racist actions to be enacted publicly against Asian Americans, just like how it was and still is after 9/11 with Muslim folks. And it is frightening that fear spreads faster than the virus. I ask you all to please remember our solidarity as human beings. This is a fight between us and COVID-19 and not between each other. After having posted my message on social media, there were floods of positive responses. Some people, whom I have not spoken closely with for a very long time, messaged me and shared that my words were very much needed during this time of crisis. I now understand what it means for words to have power, for words to have meaning, and how my words can have impact on others. I am usually very self-conscious, very private. Posting that message was truly nerve-wracking, as I had never posted anything so political or so serious. Will people see it? Will they care? Will I lose my job? It was just amazing to read the support that people showed for my post, and it feels really good that something as small as a post can bring security to other people. This was truly an empowering moment, and it gave me purpose. It gave me efficacy in that I can do something with my time. I really do not know where I'm going with this, but over the past few weeks of state-ordered social distancing that had left me alone with my thoughts, making me reflect more on my experiences, observing the world and what is happening, and reconnecting with my parents. This has been an incredible and transformative time. I got to learn more about myself that I was not that conscious of in the past. I am striving to improve myself so that when social distancing passes, I can have more capacity to come out of my shell and to support and help others. This is the time to be in solidarity and to not accept racism.
In times of crisis, I look to Nobuko, who threw the dice of fate in hopes that she would outgrow. the memories of bombings she'd seen beneath the shadows. How a child could bear witness to such an ensemble, I don't know. But I see her resilience, an older woman now, but whose nature cannot be silenced. I tell you, creativity drips down her sleeve. When she breathes, please, keep her with me. In Japan, the virus hopes to be contained. But without the people, the passion, the will, and the pursuit, no higher power should enjoy the fruits of one's labor. Mister, in my bones I can't help but think that in this crisis, here's where my parents link. Nurses who understand the depths of this country, risking their lives to ensure accountability for the mister up there who can't seem to give any. It's no surprise. We're all so scared. But all I can do is sit here and wait. Just know that our identities are not up for debate. Gambare. Hai.
I graduated from high school in 2018, and I'm already now finishing my second year of college. Everything I explained hasn't changed. Brockton has never been a city to receive the correct amount of funds for all of the students who live within the community. Being home all day due to COVID-19, I see my younger brother remotely attending high school during this pandemic. Even after 3 weeks or more, he hasn't been taking any sort of online classes because lots of students around the city don't have the resources at home. The only way that they could all start would be if the city could collect enough funds and lend out laptops for all of the students to use. During the first 2 weeks my brother was home, he did not receive any information about what will happen to his classes. At the end of the second week, his English teacher emailed her students and told them that they will have to read and keep a journal of what they will accomplish during the day, but she stated that this work will not be graded. After my little brother told me this, we just sat there wondering what would happen. He even asked me if students would have to repeat the grade because no one is learning. It makes me angry and frustrated knowing that other school districts are able to overcome this with less of a hassle because they have the resources to do so, and low-income communities like Brockton cannot. Everything happened so quickly and took a turn that none of us could have imagined. Of course, in an emergency, some things have to fall to the backseat. But that's not the problem. The problem is that Brockton doesn't have the resources to begin with to be successful at a time like this. On Thursday, April 2nd, 2020, the school district was able to hand out 4,000 laptops for the students in need. This is great, and I know Brockton school leaders try to do anything in their power to help their students succeed. But it is a fact that it took about 3 weeks to distribute these basic learning resources to students across the community. The communication about when students would come back to school also was an issue, and there was no clear plan being shared with the parents and guardians of the students. We are all having a hard time understanding everything that is happening, but low-income communities are suffering at a higher expense. Knowing that there was no support for them at the start and now amidst a pandemic, there is no clear path for the students to move ahead educationally and economically. I know that the city of Brockton is trying its hardest to support the students and find different manners to figure everything out. Yet, just knowing that low-income and underrepresented communities hurt the most when things go wrong is frustrating and unfair. It's discouraging to me because I care about the community I was raised in. I care about the young students who are attending public schools in this district. Knowing the immense amount of talent and knowledge the city has, yet without the right support and funding, these students will have a harder time in achieving and being recognized. We are a city filled with people from so many different cultures and backgrounds, with different languages being spoken around us daily. Brockton has shaped me into the person I am today. The public schools I have attended and the programs I was a part of have always given their all so that I could benefit from them. The Brockton public school system deserves more than having to worry about budget cuts every year during the best of times. Low-income communities and underrepresented populations shouldn't have to fight for something that white and higher-income communities receive so easily. During all those years of my public education, my classmates and I should not have had to come to terms with such daily inequality and learn to believe that the norm for us was not having enough of anything. In light of this pandemic, I know for certain that communities like Brockton have always deserved more.